On your station, Isaac 98.1 FM, The Promise. All right, good evening, good evening. Good evening. All right. Okay, so you guys, good evening and welcome to Isaac 98.1 FM, The Promise. I've got, you all are hearing me, right? Loud and clear? Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hi, Rondell, are you hearing me?
We are hearing you.
Great.
But behind the sound of steel band.
Right, okay, so I'm doing that. Good. So we need to see you now. We're live.
I'll put my camera on in a short bit.
No problem. All right, so I'd like to welcome, no stranger to us, Rondell and Kevin Thorne. Kevin is the first on YADAS, and I seem to be getting all these questions coming at me. So I'm like, I always have to go to the men and the ladies. So I'll be playing a few clips in a short about what sparked it and the conversations that came out. So Trinidad and Tobago, be sure to send your WhatsApp messages, and therefore we can know what is happening and your thoughts. All right, so I'm just trying to clear something here before I do my do, because I would like to play some clips coming out of that conversation here, and Steve talk about why or who pays for the first date. And you know what? I have two gentlemen here with me. I don't know why Dr. Shamil is taking so long to get in. I need some backup here, because I know with the men. All right. So Kevin, let me hear you.
Hi. Evening.
Right.
Evening, Trinidad and Tobago.
Right. Right. Great. Okay. Cool. So we're just fixing everything technical. Right. And so my assistant just was advising me. Okay. So here's the first.
If it is the first date, he better offer to pay or there will not be a second date. If it is the first date, he better offer to pay or there will not be a second date.
Depends on the delivery, right?
Yes.
Like if the check comes and he looks over at me like,
Yeah.
then sir, you need to go ahead and put down on this, and I'm a go. Never to be seen again. But I think that needs to be discussed early on, right? Like how much of a date is this? Are you interested in courting me for real, or did you ask me out, or did I ask you out, or was this like a setup by friends? I feel like those things need to be discussed early on. Communication will eliminate any room for error in that situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another clip that I had. So I'm just giving the clips, and then I'm definitely...
men who don't understand that.
In addition to that part of the conversation, it needs to be made clear to men that women don't owe you when you take us to dinner.
Yes.
just because you buy me dinner, just because you paid the valet, doesn't mean I need to go home with you.
Absolutely.
So that in that same conversation, that still needs to be said.
And I think that
So you hear that, okay? Because, you know, sometimes, and this is how women feel. Why a lot of them are saying they don't mind paying, all right? So you're all hearing why. Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
So that in that same conversation, that still needs to be said.
And I think that's why so many women still want to pay, because you don't want to be bought. You want
Right.
to
Because you don't want the
own yourself
perception
and-
of the obligation.
Exactly.
Because
I am
nowadays-
not for sale.
Correct.
Yeah, because nowadays, a lot of times in this situation, the women might be making more money.
Then he need to play in the playground he qualified to play. No, see, that's what you do. No. This is a real teaching moment for men. You were born to be a provider. You were born to put a woman on a pedestal and treat her like a queen. That's your job as a man. Now, if you don't want the job, go do something else. It's an honor to take a woman out.
Hey.
That is true. That is true.
This
All right, so I'll just stop with that one for now before I go into the others. And then I did my survey asking women who should pay, and some women, you know, said they don't mind, and others said, well, the man, he should. And you'll get those little snippets as we continue. So again, I'd like to welcome no stranger to us, my brother, Mr. Rondell Fields, and I think when he speaks for a whole host of men, right? Based on the men he assists and lead as well. And then I've got another gentleman with us, and we're going to hear his thoughts. Don't know if we'll kind of like crush him to the ground, but you know. See, you watch him like he fearful there. But don't worry, Rondell, go back here up.
I appreciate that.
So, Rondell, good evening, and how are you doing, bro?
Good evening, Madonna. I'm fine, sis.
And
No complaints at all, man.
very, very, very good. So you heard some of the little comments that
Somebody can call me.
and it's life, it's a part of life, so we just want to throw it out there, because sometimes there are persons who would be not sure on how to do, because on their conversation, you know, wasn't there, and they're not sure what could happen, and then because just like one of the ladies said, they don't want to feel bored or obligated, because it's amazing how cheap some men think women are, that, you know, a little dinner and after that, you know, they want so much more, please, you know. So let's hear your thoughts to start.
Well, I mean, there's a number of things, a number of scenarios that was painted there. And I think primarily is based on the situation. It's situational. Am I asking you out as a gentleman, or are we just friends in the or co-workers and we deciding to go out? Those things might create different scenarios. There are some men who, or I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with the training of the man per se, but possibly the relationship between the male and the female at that point in time. A man may be willing to pay because that's the custom in his home. That's what he saw his dad did, or that's what he saw his uncles did, or that's what he saw on television that he needs to do. So that's a lot to do with culture as well. I might just say, is there a right or a wrong position? I can't truly say that. I think it has a lot to do, as you know, as I said, situational. Possibly the young lady asked him out and she wants to pay, or she asked him out and he still wants to pay. Should it be something that they banter and have a big issue about, or I mean, it also has to do with the financial situation. As if he's in a situation to pay and she asks him out, is he entitled, or should he feel bad if she pays? So it's highly situational, based on, I mean, who might have been the instigator, who not only does the instigator, the scenario around the going out in the first place. So, I mean, it's based on that person's position, I would say. I think everybody may have a different position. Some may have similar, some may have different, and that's it. To me, I think the way we get on in this society about you have to do this, and if you don't do this, then don't look for me again the second time. And then sometimes it's confusing, because you might meet a man who wants to pay, and then you want to meet a woman who don't want nobody to say you're buying nothing for them. So they want to pay half the bill, so you can't go away saying those things. And it's highly situational. And I think that a person, even before going on a date, will assess the type of person that they even have interest in to begin with, to determine if this person is. Well, I mean, people these days go on, as I say, blind dates and go on random dating because, I mean, it's a single dating kind of network out there now. But, I mean, I still think in Trinidad, it's still heavily based on what the person see in the other person, if the persons have something in common, if the persons have some kind of affection towards each other. And sometimes they make the decisions on how they want to split the bill. Sometimes they work in the same space and they both know each other's salary and they both know that they each not in a place. And you see a $800 bill come and they both know their salaries. It's not a big, hefty salary. And they say, yeah, well, let me split this down the center because both of us wanted to enjoy each other's time and space. Nothing wrong with that also. So as I said, to me, it may be situational, so everybody may have a different take on it. I don't think it must have a
I understand.
hard and fast way.
And yesterday someone was saying as well, just as you mentioned, that $800 bill, then if you know you can't afford it, why send up that bill? A gentleman said to us that if he goes out with someone and they jack up that bill so high, that's it, no more dates, because sometimes persons just try to have the bill at a particular place and you know you can't afford it, the guy can't afford it, but you just want to eat big because you never had it before. That kind of thing.
So exactly, so that's what I say is based. I mean, you don't know each other pocket too, eh? You don't know your own pocket as a man, and the woman needs to know her pocket as well. And if the man is the one who's taking the lead and he expects of himself to pay the bill from the jump, if he expecting to pay the bill, he should have an idea where he can carry her. If he has the cheddar carrier in a fancy restaurant, or if he has the cheddar carrier in Mario's or Pizza Boys, or for doubles. And long and short of this story, it shouldn't matter if you really care about the person and you already made intent. I mean, yes, there are times you go certain places, but based on the type of date, if it's the first date, if it's for a special occasion, these things, as I say, situational. So it would make differences. If you're just going on for pizza or something, I mean, you understand? So it's all based on that. And I think heavily, any man, like from my personal experience, that would ask somebody out, unless it's in a friendly capacity, should have a essence of add some interaction with that person before even asking them out to determine if there is somebody they want to go out with. Because I tell you about me personally, you must get essence and a sense from a person. Sometimes some people, and I'm not knocking anybody, might be super bushy and they snapping at waiters and things. I will walk out and leave you there. That is how it is. Because at the end of the day, I think everybody must be level, everybody must be respected, and have people like that. So I think even before carrying somebody in a date, you get a sense of a person to know, hey, this person is a mellow person and nice. This a person, if I carry them for doubles, they're happy. If I carry them for the biggest meal, they're happy. And I just want from my personal experience, it doesn't really matter to them. Once we vibing, and that type of person, you can carry them and they be dumped everywhere. Humility is a big thing for me. If I decide if you even get that date in the first place. With me, and nobody. I just say.
Wow. All right, so I have Kevin. I want Kevin to jump in. The first date scenario. Because yesterday some things, as soon as I was running a survey down to the day in the office and all, and really hearing, the thoughts of men, ladies, I'm telling you, it's to be cherished, because I'm coming to understand that as contrary to popular belief, Shamil, welcome. They're simple, they like some simple stuff, all the buff and everything, and they like some simple stuff. I was so appreciative of hearing that yesterday. But let me hear you, Kevin, your thoughts.
Okay. Well, first of all, good evening to you, Madonna. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the good evening to the rest of the panel and to Trinidad and Tobago. I want to also, now I have some points. I made points just to stay on track because I talk plenty.
Too long, right? Because everybody are together, right?
So, I want to firstly thank Miss Aileen Bond because she helped me put these points together. Right. Well, I will more or less say what I wanted, and she just helped edit it, right? And to stay on track, who pays for dinner? So, first of all, because I think I saw it, if not the same clip, but I saw it on another clip with Steve Harvey, the person who initiates the dinner pays for the dinner. So if the man come and say, hey, I want to carry out, right, he pays. If the woman come and say, hey, I want to carry out, she pays, right? Two, the person who initiated must know their budget and should gently inform the person of their limit. So if I come in and say, hey, Madonna, I want to carry out, but I don't have, I have Haagen-Dazs money, or I have the Savannah food court money. I'm not going and carry it to Hilton, because I will tell you that. I will say, hey, here going on. I do not have this. No, I have a budget, and this is the amount. We could get something in Savannah.
Yeah, I like the Savannah.
Right.
Just saying.
Right. Right. If your thing is, well, I find I should go hotel, or I like to, and I want to dress up. Yeah, what? Okay. Probably next time, right? What's up? Right? Eat something. No, this is for mainly women. Eat something light before you leave home. Don't be hungry.
I agree with that, because I tell my daughter all the time. I think it's a school of thought. I don't know if you on the panel have had that before, where your parents say make sure and eat before you go out, because you never know what would happen. And then they would go ahead and share the experience.
Exactly.
I have an aunt who gave a story of going to a wedding, and based on the treatment, it would have been deciding if he gets any gift or not. And she said, when she went to the wedding, she ate first, right? And she says it's a good thing, because, it wasn't what she expected, and they went back home with the gift because they weren't treated, and they would share all these stories. So they always said, before you go out, eat something. You never, ever know. So I even tell my daughter, no matter where we going, make sure you eat a little something, just in case. You don't know what can happen, right?
Yeah.
So
right. And I'll tell you something. Probably not all men do it, but I have done it already. I know I'm going out. I will probably drink some tea, eat some biscuit or something like that. So at least, because most of the times, like, I might be working, and depending on how my day go, I won't have time to stop to eat anything. So I will eat something before I go, right? So I won't be too hungry. The other thing is, do not go to expensive restaurants. Do more casual dining, especially the first date, because you're getting to know the person. So like for me, I like the Savannah. You could go by Savannah, you could take a walk around Savannah, buy some stuff, corn soup, whatever like that. And you walk around, you talk, or you can just sit down in your vehicle, or if they have seats in there, chat and stuff like that, right? Because you see, going to an expensive restaurant sets a bad precedent from the beginning. And there are mostly women do it, not men. Some men will do it. Men do it, because I heard women speak about it, right? You go to somewhere where it is expensive, and the man will be like, oh, she have money. And men have this tendency to be like, hey, make sure and eat she out, make sure and let she spend. You have men who say that, but mainly women are the ones who be like, watch me now, I going on fill my belly, whether you have a next date or not. I gonna fill my belly. I've heard it already, right? So you don't set a bad precedent by doing a first date in an expensive restaurant. You do something casual, and if you see that sets a pace where it's about getting to know the person. It's not about impressing the person with how much money you could spend, right? Splitting the bill must always be discussed beforehand, because depending on, like for instance, you and I might be chatting, and you come and you say, hey, I like this restaurant, I would like to go and check it out. I say, well, here's a nice one. Probably you could go, right? Think you're all discussing it. He's not actually telling you, I'm going to take you there. Right? So if it is a situation like that, you all could say, well, here what? Let's split the bill. Right? So that if you're spending $400, you walk with 2, you walk with 2. Right?
Okay.
I'm trying to be quick here. Sorry.
Yeah. And something is said as well, and one of the gentlemen that I was interviewing brought it up as well. Ladies, don't go and think, you could just, empty the bank because you're choosing, this big restaurant. And something you kept saying all the time about going to an expensive restaurant can be a bad precedent. I don't know if I agree with that totally, because it's like Steve says, it's based on your pocket. Some persons who could afford it, it's no big issue for them, but for others it will be. So just work within your budget, right? But before you continue, I want to go to the love doctor here, Dr. Shamil Bernard. So and hear her views as a woman as well, who pays for the first date. I have mixed messages from a lot of women, and I guess like you all are saying, it's based on the scenario as well. And some men are just saying the men are supposed to do it, period. And I have those clips as well. So it was kind of surprising, but it's mixed, and just want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, hi, good night.
Good evening.
My apologies for being late, but I'm here.
Good to have you.
Okay, what's my views? Well, I always believe that dating is a process, and when I hear the word relationship, even though it's our first date, I think that we are now starting a relationship. May not be a romantic one, but we're starting a relationship. And if this saying is a ship was designed to take you places, I would always say is a process. So I always use 5 steps when it comes to dating. And if it's your first date, then we're on step 1, which is friendship. Now I spoke about friendship on Makeup and Breakup, and they almost take my neck, because I think that this new age, this new generation, they don't understand the concept of being friends before we get serious. Meaning, if it's our first date, it's a matter of you and I getting to know each other. This is where we need to converse. This is where we need to challenge each other. This is where I want to learn more about you. I want to find out about your family, your generation, ask you my 21 questions like they used to ask you long time.
I have 14.
In short time paper. This is the moment that we are actually starting something new. We're building a relationship. So my thing is not about really who pays for the first date, but I think that it shouldn't be fancy restaurant. It should be somewhere that we can talk. It shouldn't be movies, because in the movies we go to hug up and let's be honest, even Christian people hug up and hold hands in the dark and eat popcorn and cry or whatever.
You can't just go and watch a movie.
What?
We could, but we don't always. We could, but that don't always happen, right? So you want to go somewhere simple, somewhere that we can really bond and talk and get to know each other. So it should be somewhere very, very reasonable. If we're starting something and we're on the first step, which is friendship, it should now be easy for me to say, well, listen, is it that we're going for coffee at Starbucks, or we're going to have a simple picnic and just pick up a few stuff in Price Mart or Massy Food stuff? You want to split the bill half and half, because nobody's making any commitment just yet. Nobody is saying that we're going to, here comes the bride. That is not what is happening. This is our first date. I don't even know if I like you at all. Vice versa, and you ain't sure about me. I could be cute as a button, and then when I open my mouth, you realize, listen, she is too much for me, or he's too much for me. So why are we investing money for big dinners and fancy things, and you pretending to be somebody you want? I have friends who went out with people and they having lobster and all these things, and they're allergic. They're just trying to act bougie.
This stupid! I said, they're wrong for that. Makes no sense. They need to stop. Okay? So if all they're doing that, you need to stop. Okay? It makes no sense. Right? I love this Savannah thing. I really do. My mother used to say, the only place I know is the Savannah. But, and now with all the different, I just really like the Savannah. That's just me. That whole lime on a Sunday evening, you get something and that kind of thing. But or they stop it, okay, for they're allergic to it. Why are you asking for
Exactly.
it? You're not proving nothing to nobody. Okay? Stop it.
End up in the
You're
hospital.
just ending up with your allergies, right? Or you might take a Piriton after. You're wrong for that. People really just do that thing? No,
People
man.
live for those things.
We
You
need
can
to stop.
imagine.
Oh, you can
So I always say, share the bill. It's fine. You know, we are friends. It's not that he's cheap, because I think that the way that people think, and I would say it's maturity as well. Sometimes, you know, we pick people who aren't mature enough to really understand that, listen, it's not about I being cheap or you. This is an investment of time, energy. That's enough investment, because I could be home Netflix and chilling, let's be honest, right? But I'm out here with you, so that is an investment, my time. And if I believe I'm worth something, my time is precious, baby. So count that as a big investment. And then as we start to grow, then, you know, we could talk about fancy dinners and who pays and who don't pay and this and that.
Yeah.
But as of right now, this is our first date.
You know what,
And I ain't spending no such money.
Massey is expensive.
The man said, they say you don't want to carry for little doubles. Well, then learn to cook. You could cook?
Who's that talking to me?
Yes.
I feel like doubles
I'm
is
still alive.
a low blow. If you tell me you can't go for a double, I don't know how I feel about that.
No. I am sure if I say doubles, if I tell you KFC, you'll be like, what? But if I tell you doubles, you'll say, all right, okay, cool. Right? Even though doubles.
I don't think I will say that. Well,
Okay, well, somebody
it
else will
depends again on the person. Let me say it. It depends on the person. For me, doubles may not cut it. I would probably want to go and sit down and my coffee shop might be a little bit better for me.
Well, we could carry the doubles to the coffee shop.
Doubles. What?
Kevin.
That's kidding.
I wonder if you should talk tonight, boy. I really wondered if you should talk. Well, Kevin, what Rondell said?
That's kidding.
I might be the person to say, if you say doubles, I might say, well, all right. And then you just get the number you are trying to reach.
What did Rondell say? I didn't hear Rondell.
I from Central, so I know doubles is life.
That's what I said. I only woman who play bullshit and love doubles.
But not for the first date.
All right, okay,
Doubles is like we getting to know each other. We on like a 7 date and we say, what you doing, boy? I just say chilling. Meet you go on us now. We go and pick up 2 doubles. Right, that's doubles. Yeah. But doubles is not the first date.
All right, okay. Even if it has cucumber in it.
I wouldn't as I say, it's based on. You must know the person you're asking out, right? Mm-hmm. You must know the relationship you have with them, the type of friendship you have. Yes. Some people have a real cool kind of vibe. Yeah. You must know if she like doubles, if she like roti, and them kind of thing. If she like something else, if she likes a dinner. And even to me, I don't find going to a restaurant on the first date. I'll tell you something. A man may take it to a restaurant on the first date, possibly because he can't afford it. An expensive one too. But he's going to look at how you manage the affairs that he puts before you.
Yeah,
if you come to lobster and you could take something cheaper like salmon, or if not salmon, a chicken, a piece of chicken that's well prepared. That is. You will look at those things. Yeah. So even though you can pay for the lobster, and a man like myself will buy the lobster too, you know. But I the last lobster eat by
that's
me.
the thing, and that's what as an older person said that to us yesterday about we were asking him that. As Dr. Bernard said, I part of the test too. Part of the test too. If I put you in a space that is of a certain magnitude, will you abuse it?
Yeah, correct.
So that's part of the test too. So to somebody who possibly could afford it, they may say, well, all right, I'm going to carry it somewhere and see when you remember the doubles we was good enough. But when I bring you here, or if I bring you here first, and you want everything you never tasted before, then that in itself may say something to the person. Not that they're not willing to buy it fair too, you know. If they offer it to you, that's a different scenario. But I can tell you, men will look at that. They will look to see at how conservative that person is. How resourceful the person is. The person might say, boy, so big enough, $500 for that big piece of thing, you know, I could take half of yours, it don't make sense you buy 2.
Correct.
And he might say, no, let's
share it.
Watch what you say, you can listen to what you say. And he can say, that is woman, boy.
Yeah.
You understand? It means to you that you're showing him that it don't make a difference if we up, it don't make a difference if we low, for better or for worse.
And she's not looking to vacuum your pockets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to make a point.
You just splurge and see how you splurge.
I want to make a point.
But yeah, me questioning that, Rondell, because a man who could afford it most times Because I know brothers who could afford stuff. While that is a test, that is not the ultimate test for them.
What is
So
it?
a man who work, you talking about a man who worked hard, succeeded and is at a particular level and still looking at his income. Because a man who is financially stable to the extent that money is not the biggest issue, that is not the ultimate test for him if she order $10,000 or $2,000.
Boy,
I do agree with you, Doc, because I've seen it. Once I've seen persons still look at that, even if they're making $10,000-$20,000, because they're watching at you as a person.
I have a particular financial status, and I want to bring this woman in my space, and I know I have a certain amount of finance. I need to know you could help manage that.
Exactly, correct.
Exactly.
Yes,
She
exactly.
could cause you to go bankrupt.
Yeah, because I want to
invest that and make more upon it. If I could only see you splurging, I know all the kakada I work for from nothing is dead.
Yeah.
And trust and believe, a businessman, I ain't talking about a businessman that must inherit the father money, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A businessman, I can tell you, who build himself from the ground, come up.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I say. A businessman who built himself from the ground, come up watching that. But somebody who is financially stable to the extent I'm talking about, that is not.
I do agree.
I'm telling you.
No,
I'm telling you
no. Any man, okay. Any man, whether you are financially stable or not,
that is true.
Especially a man who is not like that has a big amount of salary or much things. When he goes, whether it's to a fancy restaurant or to the savannah, because I have seen people do that. You go to the savannah, right, and they want to buy a whole set of stuff, right, because they tell themselves, I have to make sure and break this man's pocket. But he's testing to see how you will operate. When you go to a fancy restaurant and you say, okay, and somebody make a point. You come and you taking crab and whatever here, you taking meat on here. It costs them $300 for this. When it costs $150 for half, he will looking at that to say, okay, at the end of the day, she choose half. So he knows that she's considerate, and he knows that she could handle money, and she will be able to be a person who will run a home properly. But if you come and you see $300. And you said, well, yeah, you ain't have the man, you ain't showing that consideration, nothing. Then what happens? The man now, he watching and say, all right, okay, she's a gold digger. Then here what going on? Depending how cute, how pretty and stuff and things that she is, right? How sexy and thing, because the reality we talking about, watchman, he trying to get back his goal. So after dinner, he want to get back his goal, right? And I will tell you all something, because I'm going to get cut just now, show. But I want to say something, right? Woman, and I have a female co-worker, right, and I admire her for this, right? She takes herself to restaurants, fancy restaurants, and she buy those fancy food for herself when she get paid. My niece, when before she became adult, I would have carried her to these places so she will know no man can come and pull rank on her, pull no thing on her, because she experienced it already. And I will tell women, mothers, young women, learn to go to these places for yourself. Take time, sometime, not it don't have to be every weekend, but once a month, right, or every other month, whatever. Carry yourself to a fancy restaurant. You could carry your friend, your family member, somebody. So you know what it is like to buy lobster. You know what it is like to drink this fancy wine and stuff like that. So when you go to a fancy restaurant with a guy and he feel like I did this already, so I don't mind taking something, less or pay a smaller amount, because it's not the first time. It's not like I never see, come see, kind of thing. And young ladies, I encourage you all to practice that. Mothers, fathers, teach your daughters to do these things. Carry them out so that men, even say we carry fish for doubles, it won't be no big thing for her, because she know what it is to eat lobster.
All right, I want to just play a voice note.
Good evening. All I have to say is, women, must not set parameters and threshold for men that they themselves are unable to reach. They speak about equality. Let's deal with equity now.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And part of what you were saying as well, and Rondell did it recently. He couldn't come on one of my programs because he took out his sons, right? And I do that with my daughter as well. Take her so she can appreciate and understand, you know, what it feels like actually, and teach her the etiquette that goes with it, right? And sometimes I've learned as well, although we may take them there, right, and may have taught them a particular way in a particular circle, not everyone will how I'll put it, boy. There was a situation where she was invited to dinner, right? So when we go, we would have, you know, the soup and everything, and then so she was invited to a birthday party at one of the same places we attended, and my girl started to order soup and everything, and I got a call, Madonna, your daughter ordering. I said, well, usually when we go, that's what we would do, because, you know, we like broccoli cream cheese soup, which I could make, of course, and I love it, I really do. And then, you know, she'd order her meal and that kind of thing. So if you had told her she was just going for fries and a burger, she'd understand that and she would do it. But once you tell her you're taking her to dinner, that's how she will go. And she was like about 12 at the time. So it's not wrong to do it, but I think if other persons are taking children or even anywhere else, let them know, like you said, the budget or how it's supposed to happen, so that you wouldn't go out of context, because there's a norm. So like Rondell, as you took your sons out, if someone else, like say, would have a birthday party at that place and invite them, they would go how daddy showed them. You know what I mean? Because that's how we will, you know, train them as well and that kind of thing. So I think what you all were talking about, this just came back to me so strong, where that whole budget and figure, what we working with, even because now a lot of birthday parties is in restaurants. My daughter went to like 100 and she's 16. Everybody's sweet 16 is in a restaurant, you know? And then some parents will pay for it, and then, you know, that kind of thing. So we need to know the budget you're working with the young people as well, and I didn't even cater for this part of it, but I just remember that, and the adults too. So it wouldn't have anything outside of that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I mean, even when you're going out with your children, whether they believe or have understanding, mommy could afford this, daddy, because they're trying to shop it based on the things that you give them, and they know certain things they may be able to afford. I think how you carry yourself about as well kind of sets a pattern for them to follow. Because I mean, they may see, boy, I know my father could afford that, I know my mother could afford this, but you cannot choose to take this and cannot choose to take that. It's so strange. I see to my sons, you know, my sons, they will look for the most simple thing, because I most times will do something very similar to that. Everything they want, they would say I could have. They would ask me like if I was a stranger sometimes, and even thank me after too. Daddy, thanks for this. Daddy, sometimes in my mind, and I say, so why they thank me as the father, boy? But then I say it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So that they have gratitude for, and I've seen it even if they go out with their moms, if they go out with other people as well. They understand, well, somebody paying the bill at the end of the day, and be grateful for it, and don't go to the top of the list. You understand? So I think I think the children will grab a lot from what they see their parents do, and that's how they will grow. They will grow up to be the same way. I think I learned a lot of that from my mother as well. A kind of simple, no matter what you have. I just like I like things simple. I'm not saying that it's not times that I will think you have reasons to celebrate and you go a little above and you could afford to, but at the end of the day, I think that is a big thing for me generally. Simple, humble, not saying cheap, you know, and low and nothingness, but I'm saying simple and simplistic. You could, as I say, you could dwell with kings and dwell with paupers in the same day, and be happy in both places. And to me, before I That's something I don't know if it's over the years I have people to do. We're not young. People are again so young. We're young, yes, but we're not like we're not in our teenage years. They can assess somebody who don't share that similarity with you. Some people like to splurge. Some people like men and women. Some people they go somewhere they pop in champagne, the this, the that, and some of us had those days first, and then became a little wiser after and realized hey, it was all vanity and a waste. And you realize that simple, humble way, and you kind of look for a mate who share those things, and you can pick that up even before you go on a date by just talking to the person based on the things they say, based on the things they do. You have some people that you know sometimes when you're talking to them, they're not in a particular position, and you and them, they're talking and you all caught it. And the things they're talking about is of a certain expensive level that possibly you might be able to afford, and you know they can't afford it. But they're talking about it, and you don't even care about it the way they care about it. Those things, men who are simple may look at, nah, but this is a little too over the top for me. I want something more down on the ground. If we had to go up in the sky when we together, I know whether I up or whether I down, it really matter to that person. Whereas it have some men who share to be up top all the time because I up top, I are up top, she's a top dog, I's a top dog. It have some people who like that. So I think people will know what they are attracted to, whether it's sensible to me or it's not sensible to me. It's not my place to say. But each person, as I say, would know what is an immediate turn on or immediate turn off. Some people may be smoking, it may be drinking, it may be some of these things, you understand? That was a person can be nice, and then the person is all right, use a drinker, all right. That's a turn off for me. Use a smoke. And the first date don't even play off. So I think even sometimes before getting to the first date, because as Dr. Bernard rightfully said, that first date is like a deeper look, because now you enter an intimate space with the person, and I agree it should be somewhere, anywhere, whether it be a restaurant, whether it be on the avenue having a meal, whether it be the double stand, you might be able to use your hand and talk. So I mean, somewhere you could sit down and have a conversation where it's safe these days again, so you just can sit down anyway. You understand? Have a conversation and really understand the person. As I said, look at certain things in the person, the way they spend, or the way they watch how you spend, or the way they care how you spend, and these kind of things. And it will tell you a lot about the person to know if this is somebody I can have a next date with, or just say, he was a good looking friend, and that's it.
Interesting.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't even sleep with you. It's not just we always make people sound like a man, all right, he invest money, he want to sleep with you, he want to do something with you, whether Christian or non-Christian. True. He had to get his money back all the time. Not all men in that place, a man who looking for something serious and realize you're not what he's looking for, he will just say, but his money lost. You understand? And you had a good meal, God bless you. Sure, God bless me for feeding you, and talk down and go on separate ways. my little two cents.
Doc, before just now 1 second, one more thing. Presumptions. You all men can tell us, right? Women who could cook, do they have a look?
Nah.
Thank you.
They have a talk, I feel.
I don't like your ways.
No.
All right, Doc. Yeah.
We just want to tell you actually cook.
Let me say this. Permission to think different.
Go ahead.
I would start this statement like that. Why? Why I would stick with a restaurant is not the ideal place, because people pretend well. You all are saying, which any normal person will agree, that based on what I take, it would determine who I am. But I don't believe that you can determine who I am based on that first date. Why? For me, I could go on a date with anybody before I reach, and I would be able to play that game so well. You will love me so much that you and all will can't believe. You want me humble? Honey, I'm humble. You want me to act as though I'm bougie? Trust me, I'm all the way up there with you. Because I have the ability to determine what people like prior to meeting them. People pretend well. That's why I said the first date should be somewhere that we can talk to prevent. You see, a lot of times we grow up with this mentality. Let me put you in a situation and see how you respond. Why that works, and I'm not saying I'm disagreeing that it doesn't work. Again, it depends on the person and their level of maturity. Because no, if it is you give me the opportunity to sit down and actually have a conversation with me, you find out so much more from a person while we're communicating, as opposed to just showing you in the situation. Because people pretend well. And I ain't telling you he say and she say, I'm telling you. You could get that girl could go and pretend, no honey, let's share half. And then when you marry her, you want to know, well, who is this hog? They're taking all the money in the bank. Where the person I met on the first date? Because people, listen to me, this is a world where people have gone from their acting skills past Hollywood level. So I don't necessarily agree with that you could reach into a position where you could test somebody unless they're not mature enough when it comes to relationship. But people who know how to pretend, trust me. That's why I said the first date's supposed to be about communication. Let us communicate. Tell me about yourself, who you are, what you like, what you don't like. Because you could pick up little flags in between conversation faster than you could pick up on a first day eating nice food and looking at each other. At a restaurant, I trying to pretend that I'm stepping in my heels and my lipstick is on point and all of that. So I would act that way. But when you take me out of that environment where I'm comfortable, where I could sit and actually talk to you, I would pick up so many things. As I was telling somebody today, I remember some years ago, I was talking to two guys at the same time. And that's why I say, the players change, but the game remained the same. Because the nature of the conversation sound the exact same way with two different guys. Why? Because it's the same lyrics they're using over and over and over. Likewise, you don't think women are game too? Same thing, your friend will give you tips before you go. So when I jumped there, they said, don't get on too greedy again. Because you're watching, you have money, so you'll be watching all the money running. So even if you want it, if now is somebody who from a different environment, different culture, different upbringing, then she might be, she don't care about you. You had to pay the whole bill. Run it up here. If you want, lost my number after, but spend it today. Again, it depends on how mature that person is. So that's how I think. And trust me, I've seen this work over and over and over again. Thanks.
I want to say that I agree with you, Doc. Right? I agree with you. But I think you misunderstand the point we was making with the restaurant. It's not that I agree not to do a restaurant thing on the first date, but we're just saying that whether it's a fancy restaurant or somewhere else, we look at it. We watch at how the woman orders and how she will calculate the bill, right? And if she get no like a white chicks kind of attitude, we know, well, okay, that's a movie. That you know that you know she's a person that we have to be careful with, right? But if she gets on as though, okay, I mean, I understand what you're saying, because there are women who would be talking to different guys and they test out to see which one is the best suitor, right? But you touch on something which is what's going to be one of my other points, which is communication, right? And that point is, which I agree, and it's from my first point, and then I had another point there. Like my last point, make sure, yes, you like the person, or you're interested in the person, you find it cute, they're handsome, whatever, but let them know, here what's going on. I want to carry out, or I would like us to go out, but we go in somewhere we could sit down and chat and things. You do that up front before you say, okay, let's go for dinner. Right? Now, you could do that in a restaurant where they have the money or not. You could still do it. But you must have that atmosphere where you all could actually sit down and get to know each other. Right? But the wisest thing within that is to actually do something like a picnic, as you say, or go for the savannah, go for a small drive, go somewhere where you can get something small to eat so you're not hungry, you're not watching each other and belly griping, or you're looking. Even ice cream alone could work, right? And that's why I say eat before you leave home, because we could go for Haagen-Dazs, right? I mean, Haagen-Dazs has, you gotta have Haagen-Dazs money, but you can still go for Haagen-Dazs, right? And you can sit down and talk and get to know each other, right? So I agree with you. right? And I totally agree with the communication first. As much as and I think for men, if you want to impress a woman, the best way to impress her is to actually sit down and talk with her, not carry her to the fancy restaurant and spend plenty of money, because she go tell, depending again, right? If she see, well, oh, you spending money, you want to spend money, and she really not into you, spend money, right? I mean, I've experienced that already, and I've seen it already, right? I mean, I might be looking a little younger, young like in my 20s, I think, but I'm much older than that, right? Right? But I've experienced it, right?
Self-confidence is everything, boy.
You understand?
Don't study them.
Right? And let me tell you something. I remember there was this young lady years ago. We were talking on the phone for a good while, for almost a month. And we decided to meet and go out. And I told her, I said, here, what's going on? I don't have much money. Most you might be able to get his ice cream. I did say that. Right? Now, this young lady mentality, and it comes back to what you were saying about concerning maturity, right? Even though I told her that, when we met and we sat down on the promenade, that is when the promenade now build up. They now make the promenade. We sat down there talking. McDonald's was still around, right? Down there. And we chatting and stuff, and a couple came in front of us and they sat down on the seat there eating KFC, and she's like, that KFC looking nice, boy. And I was like, well, I'm feeling for KFC. I said, well, you had a staff because I told you up front. No, I serious. I told you I did not have no money for no KFC or anything else. Moses ice cream, you say you still want to come and meet. When we going to buy the ice cream, she's telling me, well, you had to buy for yourself. I mean, for her alone, I have to buy for her alone. Don't buy for me. I say, really? I say, okay. So I bought for her alone. And that was the end of that night. Right? Huh?
What made her say that though? That's just so strange.
Okay, and it comes back from, I guess probably from the area she came from. Right? Honestly, I don't want to.
You don't have to go there.
It's an area in Dagobah. Right? But she came from that area and that mentality. But even when she came, she had on a wig. And it's not like a decent looking. It's like,
Kevin, you know, I'm not agreeing with you.
No. She had on a ghetto wig, right? So, no. If you was there, you see her, you would know what I'm talking about, right? Because I've seen women with decent wigs and they're very decent. But from my experience with her, and I'm telling you that, you see how I told her up front, hey, this is my situation, right? Her level of maturity was not there. And had she had a level of maturity to say, okay, cool, no problem, we work with that, fine. Or she gonna say, well, don't bother, right? Probably next time. I didn't have a problem with that, right? And this is why sometimes women get themselves in trouble with men, right? Because you want to go, you tell yourself, I'm going to splurge on this man, right? And then you realize, okay, he's spending money and he want back something for his money now. Sometimes we go with that kind of mentality. And I agree, we should do small things that would just lead to conversations. So by the time you finish that conversation, you know, okay, I really want to meet this person, go out with this person again, or not. You might probably do a next small
How about when you're conversing with the person and only want to converse and you don't want to go out with them?
Because they might.
Guys are flag.
Because sometimes you talk, hey, I don't want to go with you, I just want to talk. That's okay. You know?
Well, then they don't like you. They don't like you.
Yeah, they don't like you.
They don't like you.
Just
Yeah, they don't like you.
say that. Just
Right?
okay, don't want to go.
Oh, I want to say something before you go on, bro. Before you go on, bro.
Oh, okay.
Something you had touched on, Doc, concerning, I think you touched on it to Madonna. And my point was tradition. Right. Madonna said that her daughter was accustomed ordering at 12 years, she would order certain things. And that's the next thing we have to look at. Traditions. What are people's traditions? What they are the customs and the traditions.
No, I said that in a particular context. My daughter must be around the savannah with me. No. Pelori and soup from the soup man. I try best.
Right, I understand that, right? But again, for instance, if you have a young lady who come from a wealthy family or middle class family that is accustomed to these kind of things, and the guy is not, right? Or vice versa. That is where you all have to discuss where you're going, what you're doing before you actually reach out how much money might be spent. Because if she expecting him, because I've seen that already, she have money, she working, she have a nice car, he probably traveling or have a put, right? And but when she saw him, she like how he looking tall, dark and handsome, and he have a tight clothes on, you know, and how he's licky lips. So she say, aha, catch one. But when you come to the thing now, you realize, but this man is a broke fella, you know, he really are not, he not up to my standard, right? And you start to look down on the man, right? And I think these are the things that when you start talking, before you actually go out on a date, you communicate, probably, if you're talking on the phone, right? I mean, because we have phones, we have internet stuff. But if it is that you actually have to do face-to-face, right? Then I think a safe thing is a lunch date first, because lunch dates tend to be more casual, where you could go to a normal lunch restaurant, sit down, eat and talk. Whereas when you say date in the night, a lot of people think, restaurant thing, right? I mean, there are different mindsets of people, but I know there was a era where everybody would have think, when they hear date, dress up nice, restaurant, right? But for me, I was like Savannah or something small or a lunch date that will be able to set a stage for talking.
Right, Rondell.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is that it's not going out on the date is not like intentionally setting up a test to test the person, and I think that's what my brother kind of alluded to before. Is you met somebody, possibly was attracted to them for some reason, possibly you all like how each other looked, or you all met somewhere, you all had some level of attraction, start talking for a bit, and then after talking over some time, you realize, hey, there's somebody. Because people just talk to at that point in time, people be talking to many people to kind of ascertain, do I like this person? Just from talking to them, people would identify a lot of truths about themselves, no matter how good they could pretend. When we're friends and we're talking and you're saying certain things that you think is normal to say in a certain space, it may be abnormal for somebody else, and they understand, well, all right, this person and I'm not going to settle. So it never reached a particular place. So, yeah, I agree that people I would be able to pretend and they might get through one date or get through 2 dates or whatever. But remember, it's not just about going on the dates, it's about building a relationship. And while you're going through a relationship, your true colors are going to be exposed at some point in time. So, I mean, that, I don't know, and I could only talk from a personal perspective. And I think from a general perspective, most people who are serious about getting into relationships, I don't understand the seriousness of our relationship. That is the only fools rush in, you know. So you really had to get to know this person and put the person in a number of different scenarios. Put the person in and it's not like you're putting the person purposely, but we're doing stuff. So just as me, if I carry myself about a particular place in a certain way, she may see something that she never saw in me that she didn't like at that point, and it become a deal breaker at that point. Or you all go on a beach, and the way she behave or I behave is a deal breaker to either person at that time, while even though the first time we went to the restaurant, it was cool, but you see a particular behavior on the beach that you felt uncomfortable with, possibly a item of clothing the man must wear he didn't like, or the woman must wear she wouldn't like, or that is not how your family bring you up. Because family and tradition does have a big part to play with it. No matter how we think, some people traditionally are conservative, some people are traditionally, and sometimes the two don't mesh, and sometimes the two work perfectly. The differences is all based on what sometimes the person looking for. And you might think automatically that a man who might have nothing and meet up this rich girl that have, she may be looking for anything from him, but you might be surprised that some of the women that have things is the ones that don't want nothing, you know. They're looking for something real genuine, something real simple. All the fanfare they grew up with and their mother and their father was doing all kind of things. They wanted simple. So it's really about it's really situational, and it's really about the two persons truly taking the time to know each other. And I'm not saying you're not going to get through the first 5 dates and feel like each other. And then after the 6, 7, 8 date, 9 date, 10 date, you start seeing things that, hey, you know, we really better as friends. We can start a wheel back, we can start a hold back, and those kind of things. So it's about really taking time. Let's take time to know how them old men who sing them songs wasn't just singing, them were singing experiences, not songs. So you really take time to know the person. She takes time to know you, and you start seeing things because you're not purposely setting up scenarios to stage to test anybody, to catch anybody. I know there are people that do that, but when I say that, I don't refer to that. But I was just pointing out things that men may look at, and I believe women may look at similar things as well. We may look at certain things while women look at other things. What if in other words, we're walking down the road and something seems a dangerous scenario seems to arise? He run and stand up behind the woman, or did he shield me behind him? And that might be a deal breaker for some women. If they see you cross the road, a dog rush you and you run from the dog and leave she by herself. These kind of things might be deal breakers. So people say, well, this man ain't gonna protect me if I in any danger. You understand? Whereas another woman might think, yeah, he didn't stand up in front of him and laugh at him. But you run from the dog, there's a little dog. So it has to do with a lot. It has to do with people's traditions, people, only traditions, what they want in their life and what they're looking for, the match that they're looking for. And that is it. And you have to know what you're looking for. As I say, some couples love to splurge together. If it works, I can't say no. Some like to be conservative, but people look, or should at least look for things that they think they could be happy with, even at the worst times, I would say. Even in the hard times, they say, I could live through this with this person. So it's not just a one-day thing to me. Yes, it's our first date. So to me, sometimes it's not really a big issue about if we go to a restaurant, if we go by the double stand, if we go wherever. But it's more so that wherever we go, we get to talk to each other. We get to see if we're not bored by each other. Because sometimes you're bored of the person. They try to get a word out there. And you know I like this and you know I like that, Sometimes you just can't get a good conversation in person, even though you had brilliant conversation on the phone for some strange reason. And you're just, that first time when you're in that space of possibly intimacy, physical intimacy, because that to me is like intimate, even though you may not be doing anything intimate or sexual per se, you all are around each other, your body temperature, your movements, everything close to each other. You kind of get a better sense now if I'm comfortable to speak to this person, if I don't feel shy, if I feel open to express myself, if it gels as well as it gelled on the phone. Because some people have good phone talk, and when they reach together, they're like, this is the same person. Some people have good text talk, they can't talk. It's about really figuring that out for the times you all start to relate with each other in person. And that is it. And I don't, once there's a space, I believe that you both comfortable, you both are aware where you was going. So what I would say, bro, is that if I know I have Haagen-Dazs money or I know I have Willie's money back in the days, I want to tell you that I'm not going to tell you I don't have money to carry for KFC, but I'm going to tell you I will pick you up and we're going to get an ice cream, sit for a while and drop you back home.
I remember.
So that is exactly what we're going to do because that is what we plan. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. I told you that if you say we're going to get something to eat, you say, well, right now I can't afford that, XYZ, if the person decides to go or not. So I won't even tell the person, I can't buy this or I can't buy it. But you took the front and you tell she, so she has no excuse. But I just say, what, I am carrying you here. Would you like to go? And if you say, well, yes, I want to go for ice cream, no, I'm not feeling to go for ice cream, it's their take. But I expect them to offer what I offered before we even went for it. If we go into dinner, let me take you to dinner at this place. Let me take you to dinner. Let me take you on the avenue, so you know exactly where you're primed to go, what you should expect to be eating. If I tell you I'm going past a gallery, you had to be looking to eat some kind of macaroni, something. You understand? Them kind of things. And if the person say yes, yes, if they say no, no. That's kind of how I would kind of do it.
All right, so I have been informed that we're off air, but we're still online. So you can check us online also on Facebook. So this will so those that are on Radio Land, they're not hearing us right now, but you can check us out on Facebook and you will continue to hear. And then we have our Facebook people as far as Guyana locked on. Great to have you with us, those locked on in Guyana. It's always great to have persons overseas chiming in on our conversations all over the globe. Right, excellent. So a lot is coming out of it with regards to, so I hope you all are taking the little notes and tips of when we talk about who pays for the first date and all the little controversial comments that would have come forward regarding it, and being sensitive to where we go, how we go, and what we do when we go as a couple or as individual, as friends, everything, whatever. Just be mindful of your other person, your friend, I guess, because it's a first date and a getting to know and all that. Other question, someone was asking, what was it? What comes up on a first date? What comes up? So this person was talking about, her desire to be married and all that kind of thing. So they were like, do you say that on a first date? Do you talk about that on a first date? And Steve said that it's okay to let them know where your head is at. If you think you're going to be dating as well and that kind of thing. Do you think it's something that should come up on a first date? When you're just getting to know the person?
I think so. Here why? Because I feel as though in relationships people jump through too much hoops. Too much. I think honesty should be, especially for a believer. An unbeliever is a different story, because if we both carnal, marriage is not the ideal goal. I've learned that for couples who aren't believers. But for a believer, we should be very honest up front. This is what I want. This is what I feel. When I ask you questions, I must be able to say, this is what I like. This is where I like to go. This is what I like to do. And it's up to you to decide if this is what you want. I feel like in relationships, people jump through so much hoops. We go through so much pretending and trying to look and trying to figure out. I am a 100% honest when it comes to these things. So if I meet you and we start to converse, this is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. I will ask you questions, vice versa. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. What is your views on marriage? You like to date? You don't like to date? I want to know. And I think it's so important that we don't try to pretend and skip and figure things out. No, I don't want, I think that I went to school, I did enough exams, and I am not going through no more examination. This is what I want to know, bro. What you like, what you don't like. So this way, while we're talking, and you be able to feed from me or point to me and I'm pointing to you, we're able to identify, well, oh, this is the person. I don't think that is the kind of woman I like, that's the kind of male. He's not my cup of tea, or she's not my cup of tea. In dating, we're supposed to date people who we can't buy or hire. That is how I look at the dating process. You're not supposed to be able to buy or hire. What that mean? Even if I can afford to buy things for you, even if I can't afford to buy things for you, that is not the reason I'm looking to form this commitment or to have this final step, which is marriage with you. If I can hire you, I don't want that either, because that's where infidelity happens. Because I have a lot of people who, from the dating process, oh my God, I love her. Homegirl could throw down in the kitchen, she could cook. I could hire a maid to do that. That's the problem right there. If I could buy it, oh my God, she have real money. Listen, nothing is a problem, But oh God, I can't take that as nag me, but I staying because they have money. That is the issue right there. Anything you could buy or hire, that is not the ultimate goal right there. It's supposed to be, I am with you because if I was supposed to go on life support tomorrow, I know you could make a good decision to fight for me to live. If it is, I was supposed to get in an accident, I know you love me enough to pursue and push me in that wheelchair until all hell break loose and the doctor say no and I'm still going down. fat. Danielle Foster, make sure you walk again. Those are the criteria when you're dating you look for. So that is why it's not about trying to figure out and all of that. No, baby, let's talk about it up front and personal. What's the goal? I'm not saying I want you to marry me, but I want you to understand where I am. I have already went through my 20s. I went through I am in my 30s now, or 40s, or wherever you are presently. And this is what I want. When I was 20 years old, it was okay, we could have pretend and lie and get to know each other because we have all the time in the world. But now if I'm 35, 40, 45, 50 years, sweetheart, let us get on one time. I'm looking for marriage, no kids, a nice, comfortable house, retirement. I want to grow with you all. Or I just looking to have fun at 50 years old, go travel all over the world with you. And when people get honest about things like that, they understand what is the ultimate goal. So when hell break loose in the courtship, in the engagement, in the marriage, you have a great foundation because I know I could trust you with trouble. I could trust you with my health. I could trust you with my wellness. I could trust you with everything. But when you can't trust them because the relationship started based on if I could hire the person, if I could buy the person, that's where the trouble starts. So that's why I said the dating process is so much more than people just see. It's about understanding the tools and techniques and the foundation. I want somebody that I could be friends with, somebody that I could have companionship with, somebody that is a good decision maker, somebody that could communicate. I don't care where you could buy, I don't care where you could carry me, I don't care how ripping your six-pack looking, because all those things fade away. Even Proverbs 31, woman, God tell you about that. When all that dies, and she no longer have a 23, 35 looking body, what is going to happen next? Is it that you don't love me no more? Is it that we challenge now? When he don't look the way he used to look, what is going to happen? I want to now be able to sit down and say the conversation is so deep that I love him beyond what he looked like, beyond what he could have brought me. And this is when you start from at the beginning. The first date. I'm not saying on the first date, say, hey, I want you to marry me, no sugar, but I'm telling you, I'm thinking about in 5 years, I want to get married, maybe 2 or 3 children, a nice simple house, a dog, a picket fence, whatever is the dream or the goal. Or I don't want no dog, no picket fence. I just want to live in a nice little hood area. Me, my mother, and my 6 sisters in the back, and that's what I want. And it's your decision from there to decide if that is what you would like to join and partner with me in that relationship with, or if that's not what you want to do. And before we even go anywhere, we're figuring this thing out from having a nice conversation. Yes, according to Rondell, we will see other things come up because experiences, of course, give birth to other realities. And that would come. But don't let us waste each other's time. I think that people in relationship waste people's time. In any kind of relationship, Madonna, I just tell people I'm very honest. With my friends, when we start to have a good friendship, and I see things going, we having a conversation, people say, girl, you're real deep. But this is what it is. This is who I am. You need to show up for me. If I having something, you need to attend. If I am traveling, I need you to look and sound like you're real happy for me. This is a friendship. I'm just using simple examples, but I'm not saying that's who I am. This is what I want. If you say, well, Shumi, to be quite honest, I can't be that friend. No problem. Then we can't be friends. People jump through too much hoops and try to pretend to be who they aren't. So in the long run, we had to deal with infidelity, abuse, stress, not talking to each other. Look like I saw this post, I put it up today, this man, he stopped talking to his wife for what? 2 years he wasn't talking to her and pretending he was deaf. He couldn't hear. And the poor woman went and learned sign language. Why? Because he could not take her nagging him. You understand? Why it had to reach for that? She sued him for that because she said it was emotional distress. Because he put her through going, she was done already 70-something years learning sign language so she could communicate with this man. Because he couldn't take her nagging him anymore, so he just decided to go deaf. Why it had to reach to that? I am quite sure when the earlier years being married, why not say, babe, and, you just really nag me and make me belittle me and make me feel as though I'm not good enough. If I can't communicate with her, get a third party, get your pastor, your pope, your priest, your therapist, your who counselor, get a third party involved while you can nip it in the bud. Don't wait until all hell break loose. And now you're playing deaf for me and you and I in court at 80-something years fighting each other. Come on.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I want to ask, just now, I want to I want to ask you and Rondell a question after listening to Shamil. Some of the things she was saying initially before she went into the man pretended to be deaf. Isn't that a turn off for some men when does it come across I don't want to say bold face, not assertive but aggressive to some men when women may appear to be bold like that? I just want to find out. Because I hear some men talk about that. And another thing you said, Shamil, which when I was doing the interview with some men, they agreed with. They like, okay, this particular person was saying he likes somebody who could cook. He said he have a lot of friends, but for him personally, he have no problem with a lady who cannot cook. Some of his friends, he says the gentleman is the one who is the cook in the house, and that work for them. But he wants somebody who could cook. So in his courting times, he was like, okay, if this person can't cook, no problem, we could be friends, just that they can't be my girlfriend because I want somebody who could cook, right? So with coming up with what it is you want exactly as a woman to men, how do you all feel about that?
Well, I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with a woman speaking about what she wants, because men want things as well. I don't know why there's the notion that people think that men don't want companionship at some point in time, or men want anything that will bring them peace. However,
exactly.
So as I said, you don't want companionship that will nag you when you reach 72 that you have to play deaf.
Yes, correct.
So men want peace. So men will think very logically. A woman is very, I'm not saying women aren't logical as well, but many women are emotional, and a man sometimes will take his time to think, to digest, and I mean converse with a woman. And what Dr. Shamil said is important. You have to be honest to thyself, be true, because a man wants to know the truth so that he could process what you want to say. He don't want to hear all the dreams about, I want to get married, X, Y, Z, yes, but the real reason you want to get married is because your sister married, your friend married, everybody married, the wedding nice, you want to have a nice wedding. You saying that you want to get married is one thing, but are you ready to be a wife? That is the end of the day. Correct, yeah. Do you know what it means to be a wife? That we are not going to cohabit in the same space. I might pee and wet the toilet seat because I'm a bachelor my whole life. You're ready to deal with that? Are we ready, or both mature enough in our place to sit down and say, hey, Mr. Man, make sure you wipe the seat after? And are we both in a place where we could survive a marriage? Not just get married alone and have a nice wedding, but enjoy the marriage and make sure that the marriage will end in divorce. And many men, I could talk for myself, dread the thought of divorce as well. So getting married is one part, Staying married is the main thing. And that's it. And it's based on that. I would talk from my personal perspective, because I can't talk for other men. Other men may not have an idea or not want to be married, and the thought of marriage will frighten them. But for you to talk marriage with me, you have to understand what marriage is. You have to understand what marriage means. You have to understand what marriage entails. It means for better or worse. It means for, as Shuma said, God forbid, somebody could get diagnosed with some illness in the morning just so, and the whole dreams are traveling the world for honeymoon and traveling the world and doing this, just get shut down, just so. The man can end up in a crash. And when you end up in a crash, from the waist go down, you can't use it again. No sex ever in your life again. Are you ready for that? That is the reality. So you want to get married, or you're thinking about getting married because everybody else seems to be getting married and you're thinking about the wedding. But the marriage is living together through a life with things that you have no idea is about to happen. So when you hear they say it sounds Nancy fancy with for better or worse, most times when it is worse, people just get divorced. People don't stay no better no worse. Once better gone, them gone with better too. So at the end of the day, are we ever ready for marriage? So it's about that. It's about knowing what marriage is, knowing what marriage entails before they even tell me you want to get married. Because I am the kind of person that will see if you want to get married. If you're telling me yes, you want to get married, we will hold conversations on marriage and hold conversations on longevity. And then if you start to consider things and talk a particular way, because now you're realizing the reality of marriage. And that's the truth, that couples who reach 70 and 80 are now looking to get divorced. And how do we survive these things? If you want to get married, it means you expect to live your life forever until death do us part. And if you haven't considered every negative thing that could affect that marriage and focused in your mind and told yourself that I am willing to go through this, I am willing to battle through this, I am willing to work through this, I am willing. Some people have issues when it come, you wanted 3 children and you are the man impotent. One of the two all like can't make children. The man blaming the woman blaming the man. If I in the back of your mind, if I go with the next man, I don't have a child already. If I go with the next woman, I don't have a child already. So now, because you can't fulfill or check the boxes that you had fantasized about with marriage, the marriage no longer seems sweet in your eyes anymore. So to me, I have no problem with somebody discussing marriage, but the person must understand what marriage really is and must know that marriage isn't just the wedding. The marriage is not the wedding. The marriage is after the wedding and the fanfare and everybody go home and we cry and we throw the bouquet, and after we married, somebody else in the crowd want to marry too because the wedding we had was real nice and real memorable. Is the marriage is what comes after. And if a woman could show that she's ready for marriage, ready for motherhood, ready to be a wife, ready to be a support system to her husband, to stand by his side. She's respectful to him, he's respectful to her. She's loving to him, he's loving to her. Once you could show that you're ready, you can't tell me I'm ready to get married, but when I talk to you, I talking to you like a dog. When you talk to me, you have no respect for me, but you want to get married. You're ready to get married. So even though you're discussing and saying, hey, marriage, you haven't displayed that you are ready to be a wife, or you haven't displayed that you're ready to be a husband. You understand? You're just talking because everybody else getting married. And once you see you display these things, and what Dr. Bernard said, to even entertain marriage, it must have honesty. Brutal honesty. You mustn't have surprises. Or they mustn't done reach marriage now. And when you reach marriage now, you hear about something that happened in the past that you did never tell them about, and then this XYZ and this now happened, and now the wife now find out, and then or now the husband now find out. Because his friend was with he was with one of his friends before and he never knows. He was with one of she friend before and she never knew. And this is some of the things that is destroying marriages because we kept skeletons in the closet. We wasn't upfront, we wasn't open, and we didn't show those things. So that's why I say, I have no fear or qualms with any woman that is to approach me or discuss somebody that I honestly care about marriage. But you must be ready to display that I am ready to be a wife, especially if you're a believer, right? My mother was a strong prayer warrior. So as a young boy, I grew up with a particular kind of maternal spiritual covering where she kept you, she hit you a piece of oil in your head, or she hold you and she pray with you and them kind of thing. A man who grew with them kind of things, he want to know he have a woman that he back so too. You understand? You want to know he have a woman that in OIM that understand once he's a man that doing what he's supposed to do. I ain't talking about a man who all over the place playing the fool, but a woman that will owe him, have respect for him, because he respects her and he cares for her, and he shows her love and consideration, and she will stand up for him when he realized nothing. She will pray for him, she will hold him every time. That is the kind of thing. And if a man see that, and a man confirm and feel confident in that, you don't have too much talk to talk again, you know. The problem is, we just talk ready to marry, but some men are watching to see if you're ready to be married at all. And that is where the issue is.
Right, well, what I want to say, and I agree with both of you all, and I just want to add something to it. Now, as Dr. Bernard said, she liked the upfront, where you speak about marriage, all those things one time, and I agree. Bro spoke about that as well. But I want to also do you hear me?
Yeah.
Right. What I want to also touch on, because I've heard people said already that the guy will come to church, he'll do everything he has to, and then as soon as they get married, it's something different. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not encouraging it. I'm not condoning it, but I'm saying if you meet a young lady and you just want to have sex, tell her up front, hey, I just want to have sex. So she starts talk about marriage, she want to talk about children or travel or whatever, and you know, and that you just like you find she's sexy, she cute, whatever, and you want to get, just say, hey, you know, well, I like it. No, because the thing is, she don't would know. Oh, so that's where your head is, right? You're not marriage material, because even if we get married, right, and you get that, at the end of the day, you don't. It's like Tima and her brother, her stepbrother, right? After that, he hates her, he don't want her, right? Vice versa. So you know, hey, especially as a believer, this is not somebody that I want to be with, because sometimes the Holy Spirit will be telling you, hey, no, your family, your friends, your past, everybody, you both are going to tell you no, but you like the man, you like the woman, right? And almost every time you have a conversation, is either some kind of touching thing or they're talking something that leading to sex alone, but they're not being serious about life, you know, future. You know, hey, hear what? This is not for me. Don't matter how nice they are, how much sexy, how much money. Hear what? Yeah, you go ahead. I will go next week. God will provide me a person. Be honest. Be straight up and be honest about it, right? And so therefore, you know where you are. Men, though, I think society before, or probably still going around, that men are not supposed to talk about. Oh, if you talk about marriage in the earlies of getting to each other, that is a problem, and or men not supposed to say, well, I want to get married or anything like that. And I agree with you all. They're supposed to say that if you're interested in. So at least the woman knows. Okay, yes, he wants to get married. He wants to have how much children. He wants to do this, that, and the other, right? So that. And somebody said if you want to travel and the person don't want to travel, you need to know if you all are compatible or not. But as somebody said, right, is that relationships have become so complicated, right? As to I just want to read what it said. Dating has become too much of a game, and we lose sight of the true purpose of what courting is all about. Especially as believers, we following the trend of the world, right? Because in the world, right, the girl dressed real sexy and whatever, the man dressed a kind of way, and he lick his lips every whole night, licking lips. And then they study, well, okay, how you go get home by who and do what, right? Whereas it's not about what the doctor was saying, you know, you're getting to know each other, what they like, what they dislike, and how they're going to deal with certain attitude. And because the first conversation, that first night, is going to lead on to the next date, more conversation, and go on and go on. So that you get to know the person, you get to understand what they like, you see the red flags, you pick up on the red flags, or you pick up on the do's and don'ts, you pick up on, yeah, you know, I could work with this one or don't, and you be honest. Yeah, you know, I mean, honesty kind of hard for some people, but you need to be honest, because at the end of the day, at least if you're not honest, when the problems arise, then you realize that you're 70 something years and you're doing sign language, you're wasting your time doing sign language, right? And or you get divorced, right? And in a situation like that, and people, let me tell you something, people have to be honest with them, not just with the other person, but with themselves, right? Like for me, I just talk plenty, right? Now, if somebody can say, hey, you know, you talk plenty, and I'm not honest to say, well, yes, I talk plenty, then there's a problem, because I might be talking plenty, and the person wants to get something out, and I'm not giving them the time to say something, giving them the opportunity. Later on, they come and something happen, and they burst out, you know, they blow up on me, and what's your problem? Because I have been trying to speak to you all the time, but you're not listening. You're not giving me time to speak, right? So, or, you know, like for instance, I mean, my bro talk about it, you know, with the toilet bowl, you know, it's like, yeah, what? put it down, put it up. You know, it's always that is a big issue, right? And or carry the garbage. And men are like this, you know. Hey, you carry the garbage from him? Just no. Carry, and that's nagging, right? Whereas you could say, honey, don't forget to carry the garbage from me, and you leave it as that. And you do something in such a way that could get it, or you give him a chance, right? Sometimes you might come and pick it up and go with it, and he might, oh gosh, and he will come and take it from you. But all these things, you must know if the man is a lazy man, if the woman can cook or not, from the first date coming down, inception, and you pay attention to what people are saying, what people are doing, what they're not saying, what they're not doing. And I always tell people there are red flags. Everybody has red flags, right? You have the red flags that is just blatant, like a man who hits a woman, or smoking, drinking, cussing, whatever, partying on a red flag. But there are other red flags of that you as a man or a woman would see somebody doing, and you know, hey, nah, that might be healthy for me. Like for instance, you know, I realize that you're always late. Now that could be a red flag for me because I'm a person always early, right? And that will cause problems in the future, because if every time we have to go out or go somewhere, especially if I have a job that is demanding, or I have an emergency and I'm like, hey, let's get ready, and you taking it, that could cause a divorce, because there's going to be a big argument. And then what is going to happen, things that was not discussed sometime before, some other issue, because that was a red flag too, it comes up in that conversation, and then there's a big argument. So even though you're a person that don't like to talk much, you need to talk right? You need to talk. You only need to communication, and that starts from the inception. The first time you already decide to probably, you know, you like each other and you want to go out. That's why it is good to start off something small, so you can communicate, you can talk, right? Pay attention to the red flags. And I tell women this, right? Because you hear a lot of women going to relationships and they always complaining that the man is that man. You see it. You don't see it. Let me tell you something. Anybody who say that they didn't know, they're lying. There's always a telltale. There's always something that you'll pick up on and be like, wait, nah, something wrong. Women don't feel like a changey man, right? He has to be the one to change himself to please you, vice versa, right? So if you point out, hey, you know, your breath ain't ready to, you know.
How do you tell somebody that
Their breath not good, not smelling nice?
Yeah. You honest people out there.
Hey, your breath not smelling.
How do you tell someone that?
Throw them into them out. You know. Talking.
I'm serious.
No, I mean, depending on your level of friendship, you could say, hey, you know what, here, what's going on? This is what are my observations of, I don't know if it's something you eat, or probably, sometimes what you eat could cause your breath to actually smell it, even though you may not have bad breath, right? Just say it, right? Say it like that. Or if you can't talk to them, give a note or get somebody to tell them.
How do you do? I want to hear the others. Tell me, how do you tell someone that their breath not smelling too good? Like you may be going out with somebody and they say something and get a whiff.
Be quiet.
Well, I guess it's based on the relationship you have with the person, if you might even tell them at all. I mean, if it's your friend, your partner, if it's a good girlfriend, or if it's your significant other, I think it might be easier to do it at that. But I mean, if it's like a stranger, someone you know you're not going to see the person again, they may just kind of pan it off, survive it for the night. But I mean, like if it's somebody close to you, because I would want if somebody is close to me and I'm going out, like we say, I eat a gaga, like something, and we going out and we are paralyzing my mouth all over the place. I'm a partner right there. I would want them to say, hey, what's going on, bro? You're smelling like the garlic you eat, you know. You understand?
Yeah.
And you know to address it. So, I mean, I think it's based on who you're out with and who you're telling that them kind of thing.
And if it's a co-worker?
You look like, oh, how you looking like you want advice too? The same thing.
Why so why?
Have that kind of relationship with and you just let them know XYZ. But now you can't tell them again because
might feel offended.
But let me tell you something.
They might feel offended.
Yeah,
but how could you do it with not offending the person? You know, people, that is sensitive things.
The person must feel bad. Even if it's a friend, they will feel. I won't feel bad if my partner tell me that, but in my heart, I can understand he tell me for my own good. You understand? Some people have that understanding, and some others might just told, well, you should know your friend good enough. If it's I might only tell a friend that or my lover that.
If it's a co-worker,
Well, I mean, you getting real specific now, eh? So I mean, I think if a co-worker, you can send them a note, write as he suggested, write a note and leave it on the desk and run away.
I did that already and I almost get in trouble. But the thing is, right? I'll tell you something, right? I had a situation like that, similar, right? And I spoke to the person, they didn't take one. I went to other
but
colleagues.
I spread anything now, you know.
No.
You don't want everybody to.
If this is how I am, right? If it's just you and I will find a way to tell you. But if other people are talking about it, right? I'm the type of person I will not talk about it behind your back with other people and laugh at you and stuff like that. I'll come to you and say, hey, here what's going on? This is the situation. And I experienced that already. I had to go to the person, right? Because other people was talking about the person, right? And then I went to management and asked them to assess and management spoke with them, but they just wasn't applying themselves. And then you know what I had to do? I wrote a letter to them. And eventually they got the hang of it. They understand where I was coming from, right?
So you could write a letter for me. Anyway, moving along.
But be honest, whether they like it or not. Because let me tell you something, right? There was a time I went out on a date, and in getting ready to go, I forgot what to put on the deodorant, right? And it's when I reach, the place make us a little warm. I was like, bitch, shucks. And they put on my deodorant. So, they're thinking, and I started to feel uncomfortable. And I was like, I forget what to put on my deodorant. You get any whip from me, And the person was like, no, I didn't have noticed that. I said, okay, cool, thanks. That's me. I rather be straightforward and honest than you come, because next thing we go out on a date, next thing you hear, it come back to me that this man obeyed. And it's not that, it's just that I forgot.
And I noticed you found that was very important when somebody said it there. That was one of the questions you don't know if the person is bad. It says Dr. Shampi said bad is important.
That's correct. Right? So I think and I want to come back to the point of the red flags. Those things, yes. Because you see, let me tell you something. There are people who are married and all, and they saw the red flags, and they run into it still, male and female alike.
So is it that you only? I go to. Seeing that you like to be honest, I could throw you under the carpet, throw you under the bus. So is it that you only saw red flags when you're not married yet?
No, I wouldn't say I only saw red flags. I think I chose bad. Oh, okay. In some cases, I would have chosen or gone behind the wrong people.
It happens.
So knowing that this is not where I should have been, right? And
so you knowingly did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? Because it was nice, it was cute,
Jesus.
Yeah. Right? And sometimes you say, let me just take a chance. Let me go outside there. Right? And but then there are the ones that are total red flags, but you still run through, or it's like, okay, cool, no. So
okay,
thanks are there.
All right, good, beautiful. Moving along. He's lost for words, Trinidad and Tobago. Do you believe it? Oh, hallelujah. All right. So as we close up, right? I know everybody was listening, and I saw on my WhatsApp message. I know that the questions were answered about because hi Atkins, good evening. He asked that question: how soon is too soon to express marital interest to the other person? Did we touch on that?
Yes, the doctor said
How soon?
one time.
How soon is too soon to express marital
Sorry,
interest?
sorry.
That's a different question.
Madonna. I feel that's a different question.
That's
And
a
what I
different
say right away, I want to make this clear, right? It depends on the conversation you're having as well, right? I mean, you can reach on a first date and I now meet this person for the first time and I talking about, well, I want to get married and have 3 kids. And, I mean, for some people, that's a turn off. It depends on the nature of the conversation. Let me say that. If the conversation is heading towards marriage, as in,
after a few dates and everything else.
Yeah. Or even if it's the first date and he probably said, so what you think about marriage? Okay, we jump in and that is the conversation. But if the man didn't say anything about marriage, or even the female, I feel as though we're trying to say, I'm not getting to know you, I barely even know if I like you. Marriage, you serious? That could be a turn off for some people. And that's why I was
asking them if there's a turn off for them as men.
I think it's more of a turn off for women than for men.
A turn off for women.
Yeah, because.
But I know for carnal men it is a turn off because I have had friends who told me they never getting married. Marriage is not on the table, and they just state that fact up front. And right now, I actually have a client who the woman when they first met, he told her, if you want to have fun, go on dates, eat, lime, have a good time, I am your man. But if you want to get married, wrong person. She agreed. 3 years later, she wants to get married now. And he told her up front, marriage was not an option. Now, you see
but you had to be reminding her over the 3 years because I think it was said that once in the 3 years and hush. So she had to be reminded because,
But remember, people change, people grow. I mean, it maybe was okay when I was 25, as I was saying. But now that I'm 28 and I realize all my girlfriends getting married and I getting old, I didn't think I want to just have a child with somebody who just, So things change for her. And he can't understand that because he do not want to get married. So that's why I say it depends on the nature of the conversation. Some people are honest upfront and say, it's our first date. I'm not trying to scare you, but I don't want to get married. So I thought that is honest enough to let you know. Some people are not saying nothing to you and just know. Our friends like that 2, 5, 10 years they were the same person. And they say, she nice, she could cook, wash and clean. She does take real good care of them children. But you see, marriage, I never married that woman. You're mad. I do it myself that twice. We don't live in a house. So it depends again on the nature. Yeah, the nature of the conversation and the individual. You don't want to scare people out. Because I mean, for me, I am a believer and marriage, of course, would be the ultimate goal. However, if I now meet a man, I ain't even get to know him, and he say, well, babe, what do you think about next week we getting married? What?
That is a big red flag, like up by the stage.
I feel you homeless and trying to find somewhere to live. That's what I would think.
That's crazy.
That's the whole flag.
Madness. But we are saying that, and I had a show, I remember, and a lot of persons called in who got married in a week, who got married in 6 months, who got married and still married today. You all
know, you ever saw Madonna 90-Day Fiancé? I don't know if you all saw the whole thing.
Yes.
Oh, I need to look at it because I get me scared there, boy.
90 Days Fiancé. And she's a Trinidadian and she got married to this rich man. I don't know. Go and look for the episode. It's all over Facebook. You can't miss it. Just one girl.
She had me thinking Madonna 90-Day Fiancé. Oh. So I like,
oh, sorry. So that's what 90-Day Fiancé. And they got married and they going. She had to sign a prenup though. And she did it. And
how do you feel about signing a prenup? That's another question.
It depends. Because I mean, if I work like what Rondell and I was saying earlier, that's what I tell them. I understand the concept. If I work real hard for my money and then you show up on the scene, I think I want you sign a prenup because Suppose you decide to just out me for everything that I own. So I think, but I mean, it depends again on your relationship with the person and how much you're willing to risk it. Because I mean, we have people who are so conniving, you could never tell. People are influenced, I say, by all
So
kind
don't
of
love no
demons that
more?
come up your life.
Nobody loves anymore.
Do a prenup and do a prenup and do a joint account.
Is there
Do a
any
joint
love
something.
anymore? Help me.
Right?
There's no more love.
Love give you wisdom, Madonna. Wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Wisdom. Yeah. I mean, love is one thing, but wisdom.
Love
Is
is when the one.
So it has no more love, Rondell. Only
Love in the world right now. Love is when I see you, I like you, and I want to sleep with you one time. Wisdom is when you say, okay, let me see where this goes. Yeah, the Bible said, all I get wisdom.
Yes, wisdom.
Doc, I'll send him by you. He need a lot of counseling.
Oh my God.
I'm sending him by you, okay? What Rondell said? Hear what Rondell said.
The Solomon said that guard your heart because it contains the issues of your life.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and he was the wisest man at that. He's the man say also. He's better to live on a rooftop than in a house than again, woman.
Exactly.
So, you got a wife for that?
Well, that fella had no
You
rooftop,
understand?
so he just went deaf.
Oh God, the man pretending.
And you know, it have people willing to do that 90-day thing. And let me tell you all this joke that happened to me like about 2 weeks ago. So I jump on this business call with really wealthy people, And I'm not talking about, they're not local though, so let me say that. They're not local people, they're international. But wealthy businessmen, young people, but they're wealthy as hell. And on the call, I end up on the call with another guy. Both of us, we were in like the waiting room in Zoom, and they were just like placing people. And you know, the person, I am very social. So we started to converse. And while we're conversing, he says he's from New York. And I said, oh, I'm from Trinidad. I said, nice to meet you. And we started talking. And he said, did you hear about 90-Day Fiancé? And I said, yeah, I heard about it. He said, I am willing to do that. And I realized that you all Trinidadian girls are the best. What's your thoughts? You're willing to give me a try and in 90 days we can get married? I'm like, you serious? He said, yeah, I would come to Trinidad and everything. You want to exchange numbers? And in my mind, that's crazy. You don't know me. You don't know anything about me except I'm a Trinidadian. And for me, it's crazy. But for him, listen, this is an adventure.
That's the thrill, yeah. The chasers, you see? It's the thrill.
Is it because that just belittle marriage? You know, you walk in Las Vegas to get married, they get divorced the next day. So to them, you can get married in 90 days, and if I don't like you, most of them on those shows, a year after they get divorced and married at first sight and all kind of things.
Love
that
is blind and all that.
After all the limelight and the producers make all the money, and a year after they get divorced. So to them, marriage doesn't have any spiritual sanctity or anything. We can't make it, okay, contract broken, next person. So they marry 10 and 20 times, and such is life. So I think that is why it will be hard for us to grasp. Not only just believers, but I think in our country we still have that notion generally, which I think is spiritually ingrained in the greater sense, that marriage is lifelong. So to us, that is a crazy thing for us to do because we don't see it going to work like that now. But to them, if I don't like she next 90 days, the next one. Simple like that.
And I think people need to a topic as deal breakers, you know, like what is a deal breaker for you, right? Because there are things that simple things are deal breakers for some people and major things are, right? And for some men, as Dr. Bernard said, he was non-marriage. So that would have been that should have been a deal breaker for the young lady, but she's still rushing, and now 3 years after, you know, that stress she's going through. So I think that is something that we need to know for ourselves, so that when we're having this discussion, like even the first date or probably second date, you talk about deal breakers. What is a deal breaker for you?
All right, so my part two, for those that could make it, I want to ask you questions. What do you value most in a relationship? What qualities attract you most in a partner? maybe you all could shout out those two. What qualities attract you most in a partner? And what three things you would like to have in common with your partner? So I just pulled these questions from you all know who. Well, everybody just tell.
I want to know who.
Steve Harvey, of course.
Yeah. For me,
Uncle Steve.
You really love Steve Harvey.
Yeah, Gil. Yeah.
For me, I love maturity.
Before you talk, let me just ask you this. But you feel as though Steve Harvey is a good example?
You know why? Because he went through certain things in life and he fought the fight and struggled. It didn't just happen just like that. And he was open with his mistakes, and therefore he moved forward and he just stuck with Marjorie. I know that it has a lot that happened, but everybody has a story. It's just that his own open, some everybody else own quiet. You know what I'm saying? And some wouldn't want you to know their story because they ain't brave enough to put it out there, right? And we have learned that I wouldn't have him as the hallmark of, but a lot of what he says makes sense. And a lot of us became educated not by full gospel teachers in school, but we became smart. He's a very good businessman. And a lot of what he learned wouldn't have been from by his priestess pastor. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes we learn from persons outside of our sphere, and that doesn't make it wrong. So that is why I take the meat and throw away the bone. Yeah.
Right. I think good Steve Harvey, yeah, don't do that. I think as you rightly said, he does make a lot of sense and a lot of things, and I do think he has some level of spiritual connection. From the way he speaks, you can tell that he has some connection. I can't judge a man, that is what to do. So he has a connectivity, and he talks from a very passionate place for the into God as well. But sometimes I think, and it's not because of only his experiences, I think he is a bit overly traditional at times, which may not be totally bad, because he is from the realm where chivalry is very important. I still believe it is important.
Yeah, he believes
the man does certain things, the man does this, the man does that, the man must do this, the man must do that. And where he's right, the only thing I think that he lacks also, that he doesn't voice what the man needs as well.
Okay, gotcha.
And I think that's the only shortfall I really have with Steve Harvey, that as much as a man needs to give, a man needs to receive as well.
Yes.
And that helps him with it. And I think, I don't know if it could be sometimes it's a man overcompensating for the mistakes he may have made when he was younger. See, that he might have made a lot of mistakes when he was younger, and he pick up on the ball now, and I need to do this and I need to do that. But a man needs to receive as well. A man needs to know. Your sons need to know. I always tell my sons that your sons need to know that they must love their family, but their family must love them. They must expect to feel loved by their children and their wife, comforted by their wife. I grew up with a single mother, so her message to me was, treat your wife well, take care of your family, because that's what she wanted to see for her, and she possibly wasn't getting it. But what we need to tell boys, because I didn't hear it, and she did the best that she could, is that, hey, expect to be loved as well. Expect to be treated, expect to be cared for. Because if you just go down the road of a man doing stuff, that's all he could do, and he could do it robotically. Provide, protect, buy this for you, do this for you, do that for you. And he's doing it more so out of the mandate set for him than the love and desire that resides in him.
Got you.
So if he knows a woman loves him and a child loves him and cares about him, and this woman lays her life down for him in her own way, it's easier for him to do it. And if she sees him lay his life down for her, it's easier for her to do it for him too. And I think that is why I think Steve Harvey is missing. I think men like Will Smith are missing, a number of guys. So a lot of them are do this. This is manly. This is because we say that. What is a man? And I'm a part of the Empower group that Minister Kojo going to inspire. When you look at the videos and you ask young men or you ask boys, or you see the videos played, what is a man? you hear provide, you hear protect, you hear all these things. But you don't ever hear a man understanding that he should be willing to receive the recipient of or receptive to receive love, care, tenderness, kindness. And sometimes some men don't know how to receive them things, you know, because we don't tell them they're supposed to. So long and so it's a challenge for us sometimes because we're so brawn and we're so brutish and we're so rough and tough because we had to be rough and tough because we had to be rough and tough if the bandit come in your house, rough and tough if the rat run in your house, rough and tough if the frog come in your house. That at the end of the day, we haven't given men or taught men also that hey, look for love, look for love, look for love, look for your trainer and hug you up and kiss you up, look for your trainer and take off your shoes, rub your foot, look for your wife to come kiss your neck, put your head on she bosom. That is the kind of things that we continue to fail to teach. So what is a man? A man is just provide, protect. Everybody repeats that. Nobody speaks to the point that a man must be able to allow himself to be vulnerable and receptive as well. So that he will be able to accept, not only doesn't even have to come from a woman, but even from his partner. The partner must be able to say, but I love you, boy. And hold your hand and your mother die, your father die. I could share your pain, I could feel your pain, I could love you, I could hold you. But because we men don't know they're allowed to do that. And young boys men don't teach their sons that. Single mothers don't teach their sons that. They teach them provide, protect, because we think that is the norm. And that's why my only issue with like some of the teachings Steve Harvey is provide, protect. A man must do this, a man must pay all the time, a man must this, a man. And nobody says no. If a man can't pay, then he pays. But if he can't pay, and his woman wants to say, "Hey, let me treat you," sometimes it's hard for us.
So I'm glad you're saying that. So it's hard for them. Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes somebody wants to buy something for you, want to take you out, and because you have men saying the man must always this, the man must always that, you subliminally tell yourself that if I don't do this, I not being a man. If I allow she to pay, I not being the man. When she just want to help you out, bro. She just want to help you out because she see a strain, she see a stress. So we had to teach men that it is manly to be receptive at times as well.
I love that. I love that.
Had a rock back in the new generation, I love that. Kind of.
And that's so true. I should record this part and just play it again because you realize that and there's a need for it, and I think that men really want it, but because, like you're saying, they were schooled differently, it's hard for some men. It's like they will go through things by themselves. I don't need anybody around and all those kinds of things. When somebody just wants to help and that kind of thing, that is so true. That is so true, isn't it? And I'm not a man, but I just seen with the brothers and friends that I have, they just want to do it by themselves. And you could see the hurting and see the one that love and that care, but they just feel that that's the way to man up.
That is true. But the only person they actually get love, they accept love from really is the mother. That is a whole
You can't say that and you're looking for a wife.
But my thoughts on that.
I don't know your thoughts.
My thought on that is that the mothers train their sons to love them alone. So that when you go now into a relationship, it's always my queen, my queen, my queen, which is their mother. They're not showing that love to their wives. And they're not showing it to the children because the mother first, right? When the relationship ain't work, the woman going with the children, she going with the boy, and the cycle continues. She train the boy to love her alone because she hurting. And he had to be strong for her, and he had to be strong for himself, and don't let no one thing. And all.
Dr. Shamili, you want to give him a number?
I want to get in contact with those businessmen, those rich people.
I think you need to talk to her first, then, okay? Right. Okay, guys, it was great sharing and getting to know you all on another level. So my question, you see, interrupted, the question I was asking when you all got quiet, right? My 3 things, what is your relation, wait, no, right? What are your what are the things you like in common with a partner? That was one of them, right? When you all just got silent on me. What qualities is most attractive to you in a partner? So you could do 3 of that as well. And what you value most in a relationship. 3, yeah? Not 33.
Y'all want to go first? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me hear it.
I'm waiting. They're going silent again. The one who does talk plenty. I don't understand how you just go and lose words all of a sudden. Certain questions.
Bro, you lose words just now?
It's not him. It's not him who does talk plenty. It's you. You admitted that you talk plenty. Rondell talks. He gives you time to speak, and he understands how to communicate.
First question, let's do it one by one. What is the first question again?
In outer, you can't do all 3 one time.
All right.
The first question. Onika now messaging me at 11 to come on. What do you value most in a relationship?
Maturity.
Maturity?
Yeah, the way they think and operate and communicate. Not right. It's not necessarily that we age, but the way they think and operate. Maturity.
Maturity. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Rondell?
Yeah, I would say honesty.
Honesty.
No matter what, I want to know how bad it is, how
you always
it feels. I don't know what I'm dealing with. Past bad, past good, because I don't always say my past I feel worse than everybody else. And I always honest with it. So I like raw, bitter honesty. That is it. That is a...
You can handle it?
Yeah, man, you have to be able to handle it if you want it.
Yeah.
So you will know, it's better you know it, and you find out about it after.
True. I agree.
That is the point. That is why you have to be honest. You can't go to somebody with skeletons in the closet and then it just hurt. I don't, from my perspective, I don't want to do nobody that. So I wouldn't like it to be reciprocated upon me, because I point it bare out. If it's too much for you to handle, say, partner, I'm going to pack my Georgie bundle. Me and you could be friends forever. So I expect that kind of vibes back from me. Simple. And I still a friend after that. Simple as that.
And I think that's my take right there. Well, I think from up front, you all know honesty was mine. I want to know. I don't like to guess. I don't like to assume. Yeah. And I don't like information last. I just say this up front. I don't want the whole street or community talking before it reaches.
I know, and that's usually the case, yeah.
And that's it. Oh, everybody on Facebook showing and this person.
And you want to know what's going on and you thinking everything okay and boom.
No, sweetheart. Tell me, this is it. I would bite the bullet, cry if I must, roll on the ground, pray, whatever we need to do. But please tell me.
And honesty would be for me as well. Because some people, I do insurance, right? And that's a thing as well, where persons, they're not upfront. You see, they want it or you don't. Be calculative about it. Don't have me calling, and then you give me a story. And then I'm showing words for anybody, and then you give me another story.
I feel like words have been thrown.
I'm trying words for anybody. Oh, Jesus in heaven, just be honest, straight up. You see, they want it or you don't. It's about insurance, nothing else, okay? That's it. Just saying now, in case any insurance agents out there.
Yes, we can lie one time, honesty.
But I want to say, when I say maturity, I believe maturity inclusive of honesty, communication, and kind of thing. And that's what I look at. It's not just honesty alone, right? Because to me, to be honest, you have to be mature-minded to be, no matter what age you may be at, you have to be mature-minded to be able to be honest and accept the honesty of your faults or from somebody else. Constructive criticism.
And honesty not easy. Yeah? Honesty is a hard thing. Because let me be real. You might meet a young girl or something, and they have little conversations, and she get raped when she was younger. That is not something she go and just rattle out and tell you just so. But you could still be honest to say, hey, it has some things that I have as the relationship develop, and I feel I could trust you, and I feel like I feel in your vibes. I could open up there and share with you. That is not something I expect she to come and tell me was in the first 2, 3, 4 months. But she still let me know it has something that that after time she can't keep it forever, but you understand? She had to be able to say, well, there's something that I know I will share with you. So you're still being honest, but you're taking it. Like everybody you meet, you ain't gonna run and tell you, this one raped me, my father raped me, or this one raped me. You understand? Those some things are traumatic and deep-seated. Some people may have dealt with their trauma and they can tell everybody about it, while others may not be able to have done with it. So dealt with it, but it's still they show some level of honesty to the person who coming into where you're coming with, because you can't love the person and you know, well, you have that issue there, and next thing you want to get married now, and then he decide to come on to you when it's wedding and you can't let him, you can't have sex with the man because you're getting flashbacks of what happened. Yeah. You understand?
And I saw what he's saying there, that whole openness as well, in the sense of with Faith Jenkins and Kenny Lattimore. He finally spoke out about his abuse, and you know, when he told her, and it was really sad to hear the story after, and somebody who big out there and sang and went through all, and he was very protective of his sons, he said, because of it, you know, and yeah, and now, well, he wrote about it and everything.
Because that's a good point. It may not be the woman get raped. The man could have just sodomized when he was a boy and never tell his wife, and he afraid to engage with her sexually, and she thinking it's because she's not good looking enough, and he has some next woman. That time is because he kept that a secret because he embarrassed her what happened there.
Yeah, true.
So some things it's a little more difficult, but you still had to be able, before you make certain steps and involve people into your life, you had to know that I'm prepared to deal with the issue I have, even if you had to get the right counseling, to be open and honest with that person, not just tell myself, hey, like my past, I put it in a closet, I carry that to my grave, because you don't carry it to your grave, you know.
Yeah.
You just carry it through your life, and then you're just there, and you must spoil 10 other lives while you're going to. Because as they say, you're over paranoid about your sons, you're over paranoid, your children can't get out of life, and all stemming from the act that was committed against you that you didn't address. So, to thyself be true. You gotta be honest to yourself, as my brother said earlier.
All right.
Correct.
And all right, so you all give me one, so I'll work with that. Or you all have more. That's it.
There's some good ones we get.
Give me some good ones. And all right, what quality is most attractive to you in a partner?
For me, I think when I was younger, I remembered all I wanted was a man who could cook, because I love to eat. I love to eat, so he must be able to cook. Oh boy, that's the last conversation. Because I like food and I don't want to have to cook all the food. And I think that food bonds people most times. And if I alone could cook, that means every time you come over, I have to be cooking, and that would be too much for me. So I needed that. But now that I'm older, I think I love a man who loves God, because I feel like when he loved God, he would love me with everything. Because that, for me, that's a turn on him, because I know for sure his level of maturity would be there. If I'm sick, he would pray for me. And when somebody loves God, it trickles down to everything else, because he wouldn't be, spending time with other women because he loves God and he loves himself. So he knows I have a partner, I have somebody I'm with. So listen, what would Jesus do? You know the long time saying? He would always think about what would Jesus do first before he decide to hurt me. And that, for me, that would cover all other grounds. That is the first thing for me. And loyalty. When you have a homeboy who riding with you 100%, Bonnie and Clyde type of style, inverted commas. I think nothing could be that. Nothing could be that. We going down, he rocking. This is it. Me and you against the world. If we eating fig and salt, if we eating lobster, if we eating nothing, this is it. This is you and I together forever until death do us part, crying, screaming. Listen, nothing is sexier than that. Trust me.
The man gone silent.
Well,
Right?
my Nah, I would say, I mean, oh gosh, she take the number one for me too, but I had to say it because it's my number one. For me, it definitely had to be. I mean saying this now because I mean my walk with God get real close now because of the some of the issues I had a partner. We went to fet when my mother said I'm gonna go fet and he get murdered. That was when the police killed the youth man and the fet in Red Fet. That was we when we was younger. And that is already drew me. Because my mother was a Christian my whole life and I was on the other side. But that is what really drew me. But I was able as a young boy to see the power of having a praying mother boy. When I was given trouble and running with from police and going here, fetting the jamming the or doing all kind of things. The power of a praying, the power of prayer, she was just the vessel. But it was something awesome to see. That when she says something, you see it happen. When she make something from nothing. So I, even though I may not have been, when she going to church, I going to church and them kind of vibes, I was living church to living with she, if you understand what I mean. So I see that before I even get my own experience, I saw the value of having that feminine kind of prayer vibes, that kind of, that tell you to hold here, anoint your head and that kind of vibes, that strength that a woman could put inside a man sometimes when he don't. And to me, you had to have that. No, earlier in my life, I didn't really business. But now, that is number one. I would still throw in a next one. Humility is a real big thing. Big thing for me too. You had to be humble and considerate and caring and, I mean, loving the people on the whole, generally, not me alone. But you mustn't be mean and grouchy. And so humility to me, and number one, as I say, is that desire for God, because, and I'm not saying this for people who hear and saying that I a super duper Christian, you know. That is primarily hinged because I see the kind of power it have when you have a support system and prayer. And I had seen that in my mother, and I see the value that a woman has when she supports a man when it comes to that. It's a real powerful thing to have a praying woman at a man's side. A praying woman at a priest side is a big connection, trust me. And it don't make sense. It don't make sense if I want to live my life one way and you not on that same page. We will go nowhere. No matter how good looking you is, no matter how good looking I am or whatever, we can't sit together. We had to have that first and anything else before anything. And I say I'm not no super duper Christian. So for people who hear nowadays, that's just a commitment from my heart and a desire that I understand the value of a praying woman. Trust me.
I agree with what Rondell is saying, because I remember one time he shoot me a call and I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised, because it was about a conversation about the Holy Spirit. I don't know if you remember that. And he wanted to have that discussion. And I was like, wow, went on started noted and thing, but so many other things happened in between. So we still have to do that one. But he was actually talking about, the Holy Spirit, and I was like, wow, okay, I ain't even look for him there then if you want to say that. You know what I mean? I mean, people just look at me and feel like I cook, so you know.
Read my Bible. Trust me.
Wow, yeah. So really, it's really coming from a place of his heart, and that's really important. My comrade.
For me, yes, I would say God, but I want to go a little further. Worship, that loves to worship God, because there are people that say yes, they love God, and they will go to church and they will be active in church and thing, yes. But I think when you get deeper, that desire to spend quality time in worship, private time. Because for me, like, sometimes, especially in the evening, around 6 o'clock in the evening, when it gets nice and quiet and dark and then I tend to take off my phone or go quiet, and I'll put on some worship music, and I'll be there. You know, I think that is what is really that attracts me, and I like the humility, yes, because the fact that you know you can get along with people, you can direct people, whether you like or dislike, you disagree, whatever, and you're respectable. You know, you respect the man that you're with, or you respect men on the whole. You don't have to, even though you might be vexed with whether he's wrong. You don't try to embarrass him and belittle him, because remember, at the end of the day, this is the man. This is and especially if it is your husband or somebody that you want to get married to or plan to get married to, you have to be able to respect that person, because especially in public, no matter how vexed you are, and you have to be able to listen, communicate, admit when you're wrong, right? Give the person, that man, time to speak and to share his points, and actually sit down and listen to what it is, not just hear him, but listen to what he's saying, right? So that is it for me there.
Awesome. I know Rondell would agree fully with one of the comments, but I wouldn't go there. Name 3 things you'd like to have in common with your partner.
Okay, I'll
That's
go
my
first.
final one.
I'll go first.
Sure.
Traveling. Love to travel. Yeah. How do we want to travel the whole world? I mean, right now, kind of hard to do that, but 1, love to travel. 2 would be to try different foods. Although I don't really cook that much, but I mean, try different foods, whether you're cooking it or you're going to different places, and you know.
Which places you're going to? The double stand or the restaurant? To try it.
Yeah, between the double stand and the restaurant, there's this this person who's doing snow cone.
Gyros.
Yeah, gyros, right. Right? Wings and fries, I wonder if he listening.
Oh yes, I love the wings and fries. Hi Melbuzz, good evening.
Right? And where's the thing? The other thing is, traveling. Well, I think food will come in with traveling. And yeah, well, it could be
So they
different.
must like to eat food, and you must like to travel,
and. I think. Oh yes. You must. I like a person who is ambitious. You must be. You're not lazy. You don't want to just sit down home and watch TV. I mean, there are times you want to do that, but you have ideas, and you want to probably try a little business idea or some sort of creative something, and you want to push for that kind of thing. Yeah, I like that. That is what attracts me.
somebody says emotional sensitivity to oneself and to others. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's it for me.
Well, who'll go next?
I just know the reason why I'm talking, so I'm not talking long because I have to get up for 6 o'clock.
All right, so yeah, we finish. All right, so.
Right, go ahead. I done.
Which one? Shamil or Rondell?
Shamil, I think she was saying something, but was muted.
Oh, sense of humor for me too, sorry.
3 things we must have in common. He must be a little bit of business oriented because I love business. So he must love as well the camera. I am a photo fanatic. Every minute I would stop if we're eating food. I just love to take photos and videos and post. He has to be able to keep up with that, and he must be very much a social butterfly because I am, and that means we'll always be in environments that would foster socialization. So if you always sour and sappy and can't fit in, we would have a problem because I like to communicate with people a lot, and I would talk to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people at the same time, and men as well. So he can't be nobody just get jealous and he jacking me up in the corner and quarreling. I said he was watching Homeboy, I ain't like that. I can't deal with that stress. So he needs to be able to socialize and blend and understand that, we just networking, getting to know other people. It's cool. If it is you're not healed and whole and that type of thing, then just check in for you. Yeah, that's me. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I will say a sense of humor because when people see me on TV, real serious and real, I just talk real stupidness and already. I like to talk some good stupidness and have a good laugh and really, if you talk to my boys, they will tell you that there's always some kind of this afternoon and all. We go out with my family, you understand? And I mean, the Starbucks is our kicks. Everywhere is our kicks. Once we're going out, is our kicks. So she definitely had to be able to fall in that suit and talk some stupidness, enjoy the laugh, go be embarrassed and them kind of thing. That is a major thing for me. Another thing is that we are to both seek to find peace. If you understand what I mean. Not always want to quarrel, always want to, yes, we're going to have disagreements, but we have to say, let me try to find some peace. I mean, if we had to forget something at that time or do have a conversation on something at a particular point in time and have it later, some kind of peace, because without that is chaos and headache. And just as Dr. Bernard and my brother there, I love to see a woman that is ambitious and driven. I'm a businessman my whole life. So I could tell I come from nothing to, I even say nothing, but I mean, I come from ground. So I like to see the ambition. You must have a desire, not to just, in other words, all right, our tea, but have an idea, only have an idea, but want to do something, want to learn, or want to teach, or some kind of something like that. The ambition is real important to me. That is something that I want to see my partner have always. Ambition, we must work, always want to find peace. And number one, as I say, is the sense of humor. So we mustn't be bored at each other. You understand? We must be able to talk some good stupidness, have a good little laugh, and them kind of thing. And that's good.
Before you say anything, Madonna, before you close, is this the Rondell from the Single Fathers Association?
Yes, it is.
Well, I have you see, I like honesty, and I have a bone to pick with you, and I want to do it on national radio. Because I may not get the opportunity again, so let me just put it out there. So I hope you don't take it personal, charge it to my head and not my heart, right?
No, I am custom.
I messaged you about 2 years ago when I used to do a virtual show and you never responded. I'd messaged you to come on to do an interview for Father's Day. You never responded, and that hurt me very much. I get over it now. I'm not holding you in my heart anymore, but I thought I should let you know.
But to be honest with you, my dear, it has nothing to do with you personally. Sometimes I give my life to this thing for the last 10 years. And I have family and my family, my sons, when I started that, my son was 4 years, he's 15 now. So sometimes one person might ask me to come on something. Madonna asked me one time, Madonna, get access for something.
Hello, I messaged him for years too, he didn't know that, and I didn't get on to him.
But sometimes I realized at that point in my life, if I took everything, in the beginning I was hot to know, every time you call me, ABC, I've taken every call midnight, I've taken, and it really started to negatively impact me, my family life, my personal life, and my health too. And I started to wheel back and delegate, so I will send Marlon or I'll send Wendell on some things. I mean, but if I can't even remember seeing the message, possibly send me, especially if it's on Facebook, I ain't okay. It has to be Rose place, because that on Facebook is hundreds of messages, and so if it's a WhatsApp message, I'm getting it short. So, but if it's like Facebook, I would never even see so many messages on Facebook because there's a lot in my inbox from years that I can't keep up with. So it has nothing to do with you at all.
So don't take it personal. That's what you're saying.
Don't take it personal.
No. I don't post on nobody at all. Anybody know me? If you come in Kunopi and ask about me, I don't. If you come here, I see my ass slippers on the junction, all over the place normal. Not me at all. Once I could make it, I'm making it.
All right. Well, hi, sister now, so at least they could respond and say, he's unable to attend the, the interview or whatever. They would still feel as though,
You see, but suppose they message the numbers. If you message the numbers, somebody might have said, now we're going to send it to Mr. Face. But Facebook, worst place. Okay. I can't check if it's my personal Facebook page too, is the worst place.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, I feel you.
Thank you.
Right?
So you don't know.
I know now.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So I want my guests to be able to get to work on time. So I am thanking you very much for being here. Very, very, very interesting conversation. I think, so we're back on air. We were off for a bit, but at least we were on Facebook and online as well. So our international listeners were hearing everything we were saying. Very much appreciative to all those who send the WhatsApp messages as well. Thank you again, guys. Look forward to interacting again. Hope we can do this again next week. But Mr. Fields, I know that you're very busy. And if you could just come for 1 hour, you don't have to stay for the long time, right?
I don't always say I'm coming for 1 hour. Look what is up.
Oh, sorry.
But the talk just be so sweet.
I didn't hear him. What you said?
I said, I always say I'm coming for 1 hour. But the talk just be so sweet that I end up staying.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Hallelujah! Come on, give God a shout of glory! You know what's the amazing thing about the presence of the Lord? That in the world when it says you can't turn